Hello and welcome to our lesson on creating the perfect Word document with a word processor. It's sometimes necessary to get data into our Word document that was created using a different application such as a spreadsheet or a plain text file. So what I want to show you now is how to copy that information into your Word document. Firstly though, let's quickly have a look at one of these text documents. So I'm just going to go and open a plain text file. And you'll see all the different little fields have been separated by a comma. And this can sometimes be referred to as a CSV file, so a comma separated value file. And what we're going to do with this now, we're going to import it into our Word document. Right, so here's a blank Word document that we're going to start with. So I'm going to select File, I'm going to select Open. And then I'm going to select my text document and I'm going to open this document. Okay, I just want to change the background to a different color so it's not this bright. Okay, here we go. Right, so now you've got the information in your word processor, and this is integration. You've now opened a plain text file using your word processor. Obviously, it's very difficult to read at the moment, so what you can do is you can highlight all the information and you can use your table option. So select Insert, then select Table, and you can convert your text to a table. Right, so I think there's supposed to be about 12 columns in total, if I'm not mistaken. And you can then also tell the computer that it should separate the information where it sees a comma. And then let's select OK. Right, so it's obviously not perfect, but you're going to have to just play around with your settings to get it all into a table format. Okay, right. You can also go and you can copy and paste information from PowerPoint, from Access. They're all designed to work together, and that's why it's so nice and so important really to work with an integrated package such as Office or OpenOffice, where they're designed to specifically talk to each other. It saves a lot of time and you don't have to retype stuff. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to copy and paste a graph that was created in Excel. So I'm just going to go to Excel, I'm going to select my graph, right click, and I'm going to select copy. Then I'm going to go back to my Word document, and now there's a couple of options when you paste. Right, so there's the use destination theme and embed in workbook. Okay, so it's going to keep exactly the same format, keep the same formatting, and then there's another one that I actually want to show you. You can paste it as a picture. So then you can't make any changes to it. It's just seen as a static picture. And then what I actually want to show you is on the Home tab. If you go to the paste options, there's a paste special option. Now you need to know about this, and even for your theory papers, they're going to ask you about paste special. So I'm going to select paste special, and here's the link that I'm after. It says paste link. So what this will do is it will create a link between your Word document and your Excel spreadsheet. So if you were to update your Excel spreadsheet and make changes to it, it will also be reflected in your Word document, and you don't have to then go and copy and paste the information again. Right, so I'm going to insert it or paste the link as a Microsoft Excel chart object, and then I'm going to select OK. Right, and there's my graph, just exactly the same. It looks exactly the same as it does in Excel, and it will update if any changes are made to the Excel spreadsheet. The next thing we're going to look at is the find and replace command. And this thing is fabulous. You won't have to go and retype words. If you want to replace a word with something else, you can tell the computer to do it for you, and you don't need to search through the entire document yourself. So to do this, let's quickly go to Homework Chores. Let's go to this Word document here. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the word homework with homework/project, because these tips should help for both. Right, so you can highlight the word if you want to, but you don't have to. And then you're going to select your Home tab, And then on the right hand side of your screen, you're going to go to editing and you're going to select the replace command. Because I've highlighted the word homework already, it will appear in the find what text box. Right, and we're going to replace this with homework again. So we want to keep homework, but we want to add /project. Okay, right. And now you can choose. You can either go through each option one by one, or you can just say, you know what, just replace all of them. Where you find the word homework, also replace it with homework/project. Just be aware here, there is a more button, and here you could add information and you can change the formatting. So perhaps you could replace homework project with a different font color. So you'll select format, select font, and let's change the font color here in the middle of your screen. Let's change it to orange. Okay. So now not only is it going to replace the words for you, but it's also going to replace the formatting. I'm going to select replace all, and the computer will tell you how many replacements were made. So there were 4 replacements made in this document, and then we can continue. So say select yes, and then select OK. Right, at this point you can close the dialog box, and you'll see wherever we had the word homework, we now have homework/project. Okay. I'm just going to zoom out now. It's not important that you can really see the information. I actually just want you to see all the pages. The easiest way to format a document, or the quickest way to format a document, is to apply a design theme that has already been created. So somebody has already sat down and they've looked at what colors work together, what fonts work together, and you can just go and apply that to your document. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply that theme. And to do this, you're going to select your page layout tab, and then you're going to select your themes. Right, so I'm going to select angles. Right, there you go. And at the moment, you're not really going to see the effect because I've applied my own page color, etc. to this. But it's usually a good idea to start, when you start creating your Word document, to actually apply that theme and then just build on the theme from there. Just know where to find them because they are very useful when you quickly want to format a document. Right, okay. Like I just said, I've changed my page color, and you would do this by selecting your page layout and then selecting page color. So at the moment, mine is a gray background color. You can obviously change it to any other color here. It's important to note at this point that the background color might not print out. It depends on your printer and the printer settings. So if you print out your stuff and you see that the background doesn't print, the color doesn't print, you'll need to go into your printer settings and into your Word options and go tick print background images and colors. And even if you do that, it's not going to print right up until the edge of the page. It's still going to have a little white border around the outside edges. And usually the kids at our school just cut off the white border if they don't want the white border included. Right, we're going to move on to something called section breaks. Now I've zoomed out on my screen here so that you can see both pages. And at the moment, the orientation for both the pages are landscape. Okay, so if I were to go to page layout and I change the orientation to portrait, it will change both pages to portraits. And as you can see here, we've got a problem now because it cut off the table. So it would be nice if you could have one page in portrait and the other one in landscape. And the way that you're going to accomplish this is by using something called a section break. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch on, I'm going to go to Home, and I'm going to activate my Show Hide button, my non-printing symbol, so you can see all the spaces and enters and whatnot. You'll see at the moment, here at the end of page 1, we've got a page break. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this page break with a section break. So I'm going to go to my page layout tab, and then I'm going to go to breaks. Right, we all know the page break, that just forces information or data to the next page, but we're going to move down to the section break section, and I'm going to select next page. Okay, so there's my section break next page. So that creates two different sections in my document. I'm just going to go and delete the page break because we don't need that anymore. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out again so you can see what's going to happen here now. Right, so there's my section break. This is section 1 and this is section 2. Right, I'm going to move my cursor to the second page because I want my second page to be landscape. So click on your second page and then I'm going to select page layout, orientation. I'm going to change that to landscape. And now you've got one page as portrait and another page as landscape. And you can continue adding sections to your document. If you're going to add another third page to this document and you want the third page to be portrait again, you'll need to add a section break at the end of the second page to create that new section. Right, let's quickly have a look at headers and footers. I'm just going to zoom in here. Right, so header and footer, if it's a header, the information will appear at the top of your screen, or your page rather, and if it's a footer, the information will appear at the bottom of the page. Whatever you type into the header and footer will appear on every single page of your document. So if you're handing in assignments, it's always a good idea to add your name at the top and perhaps page numbers in the footer. So let's quickly have a look at how to do that. So you can select Insert, and then you can go to the header and footer section. Here's your header options and here's your footer command button. Alternatively, you can just double click at the top of your page in the actual margin section over here. So just double click and that will activate your header and footer section. And whatever you type in here now will appear on every single page of your document. Right, there's various settings here. You can add a field like the date and time if you wanted to. You could, if you had a cover page, you could select to have a different first page because it's really not good practice to have a page number on the cover page, although that is seen as page 1. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to just get out of my header and footer. And I'm going to add page numbers to the bottom of my document. So to do this, you select Insert, and you'll see on your header and footer section, there's already a page number control that you can use. So let's use this control button. I want to add my page numbers to the bottom of the page, and then various options will pop up. The one that I prefer is in the format X of Y, and they often ask this in your exam. And I think this is the best page number because it keeps track of how many pages you have. So it will say page 1 of 7, page 2 of 7, page 3 of 7. So if a page goes missing, you'll be able to pick that up. Right, so I'm going to just use the first one, bold numbers 1, and I'm going to add that to my document. So here at the bottom, you'll see page 1 of 2 because I only have 2 pages in the document at the moment. Right, okay, then with our sections that we just inserted, we used the sections to create a separate portrait and landscape page. You can also create different headers and footers for your different sections. So in grade 10, if you added your headers and footers, it just went through to all your pages, where now, when you insert your section break, you can actually create a new header or a separate header. So I'm going to scroll to my second page and just double click in my header, and you'll see on your design tab here it says link to previous. Okay, so the computer's picking up that there's separate sections here, and it's linking your information that you've typed in your header on page 1. It's linking that to what needs to go into page 2. But you can obviously change this. So you can just deselect that option, and then you can go and add information separately on page 1 and page 2, or on the 2 separate sections. Right, then we're going to move on to some paragraph settings now. So I just want to get out of my header quickly, and let's have a look at our paragraph settings. So previously we've looked at bullets and numbering. That shouldn't be anything new to you at this point. And what I want to focus on now is something called a multi-level list. So instead of just having a numbered list 1, 2, 3, 4, you're now going to have a multi-level list where you might have 1 and then you might have a subheading A, B, C. Okay, so let's just start by changing this into a so-called multi-level list. So you're going to highlight your information first, and then on your paragraph settings on your Home tab, here's the bullets that you all should know. Here's the normal numbering, and here's our multi-level list. So I'm going to select the drop down there, and the best way to do this is to find one of the preset multi-level lists that's close to what you want to do. Okay, so close to the idea that you have in your mind. So you want a 1 and then an A, then maybe a Roman numeral I, okay, or 1. Okay, so I'm going to select this one, and you'll see that already, because I've used the tab, it's on level 2 already. It's not even counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you're going to do now is you're going to use your decrease indent to move your information back to the previous level. Okay, the first level of numbering, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4s. Okay. Right, you might want to add information here. So start on the day the homework or project is handed out. Okay, so I'm going to add another little point underneath that says don't procrastinate. Okay, so I'm going to press enter, and that will automatically insert the next number. Now I don't want to use the first level. I now want to jump to the second level, so I'm going to press tab on my keyboard, or you can use the increase indent command. Okay, and then you're going to type in your information there. Okay, don't procrastinate. Very good advice, by the way. Okay, right, so if you press enter again, it's going to stay in that level. If you wanted to go back to your level 1 numbering, don't press backspace or delete, because that's going to almost deactivate your multi-level numbering. So instead of doing that, you're going to use your decrease indent, and that will change back to level 1, and then you can continue typing at this point. Another nice feature that Office 2010 has is the cover page. So instead of having to dream up some kind of wonderful cover page for a project or a report, you can use some of the built-in ones. Okay, so what we're going to do this, we're going to go to Insert, and on the left-hand side, you'll see there's the option Cover Page. Let's give it a second to load. And here's some really nice designs that you can use to insert into your report or homework assignments. Okay, I'm just going to use a simple one, so let's use that one. I'm going to zoom out so you can actually see what's going on here. And obviously you're going to have to customize this. So it's almost like a template that you're using here. And they've got some fields that you can go and change. You can put in the date, the year, and here at the bottom, they actually give you some advice as what you should be typing into this document. It's very important that you customize every single bit here, and if you're not going to use something, then just delete it completely. It doesn't look very good if you hand in something and it still says type the document subtitle somewhere or type the year. Just get rid of it if you're not going to use it. Okay, in OpenOffice Writer, there's just a few things that we need to note there. So I'm just going to jump to OpenOffice Writer quickly and just zoom in a bit here. Okay, the first thing that you need to note is where to find your paste special command. And if you were to copy something into OpenOffice, you'll go to Edit, and there's your paste special option. So you need to make a note of where to find this. Also, your find and replace options, you'll also find on the Edit menu. So you can go to Edit, and there is Find and Replace. And it looks very similar to the one we saw in Office 2010. So once again, you would type in, I want to search for homework, and I want to replace it with homework/project, for instance. And you also have the options, or the option of changing your formats. Right, your bullets and numbering, you'll find that that should be on your toolbar here at the top. So there's your bullets and your numbering as well. And you also have the option to decrease and increase your indents when working with a multi-level list. And that concludes our lesson on making the perfect Word document using a word processor.